Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new history episode where I'll be looking at the history of Doctor Who animations of the missing stories. Now, unfortunately, I will not be talking about the 2003 version of Shada and, of course, Scream of the Shulker, because even though they were animated, I'm going to be talking about specifically the missing episodes and the one story that actually has had animation to have that story to exist, which is, of course, Shada. So I'm going to talk about the years when these stories actually came out for us fans to enjoy. So I've only decided to do this video thanks to the fantastic news of the Underwater Menace being animated. Now, I don't really care for the Underwater Menace because I really don't like the telesnap reconstructions for episodes 1 and 4, which are really, really terrible. It's good to watch episodes 2 and 3 that do exist on that story, because 1 and 4 are still missing from the BBC archive. It was released by terrible telesnap reconstruction. But I kind of want to talk about the animations and what I personally think of them. Now, what I think of the animations, these are a perfect way to bring back missing Doctor Who stories for us fans to sit down and enjoy once again. Yes, I know some people would be happy if basically the BBC could find all 97 episodes of Doctor Who. Yes, I know we went down from 200 and something episodes. That's when that does include the Pertwee era back in the late 70s, early 80s. But my God, we have come a long way since then. And since 2006, the animations have started to come out to help these stories to come back in existence to us fans to enjoy. So I'm going to talk about the animations when the year they came out in, and then, of course, what it looks like today. So, sit there while we dive back into the history of the animations. So, the very first time we had an animation adaptation for a missing story was, of course, way back in 2006 with episodes 1 and 4 animated. It was the Invasion. Now, this story is so iconic. One, it introduces us to Unit. It introduces Tiberius Thorne, who's an actually great villain. We see the return of the Cyber Planner. After me watching last year the Wheel in Space, I never knew the Cyber Planner was introduced in that story because I thought it was this story. But no, it's absolutely brilliant. The Cybermen do get a good updation, like an update from the Wheel in Space versions, and of course the Moon Base and the Tomb of the Cybermen. I absolutely am grateful this story was actually animated back in 2006. It was the only story to try animation, and I really think it actually did work because the animations for these two stories are absolutely brilliant, and they still hold up to this day in age, even though it was released back in 2006. I absolutely do love the story. Then unfortunately, it took us to 2013 to get some more adaptations for missing stories in animation. And those stories that we had in 2013 was The 10th Planet, The Reign of Terror, and one Patrick Troughton story, The Ice Warriors. Now, the episodes that we had animated for these stories, so in The 10th Planet we had episode 4 because episode 4 is missing in the BBC archive. And then we had episodes 4 and 5 animated for the missing stories of the missing episodes of this story, bringing this story into one way nearly completion. Technically it is completed, technically it's not because we still don't have the actual original episodes, but the animations do help bring this story back into action for us. And of course we had episodes 2 and 4 and episodes 2 and 3, sorry, animated of the Ice Warriors, bringing up to 2 Troughton stories to have animation to help bring them into existence, and 2 Hartnell stories. And this is what it looked like in 2013. 2 Troughton and 2 Hartnells. And then the year later, in 2014, we had the animation release of the episodes for episodes 1 and 4 of the Moon Base. Again, another iconic Cyberman story, a great base on Jacine story, and it actually brings this story into existence. And this is Troughton's 4th story in the role as the 2nd Doctor, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's still a treasure to hold in my hand right now that, thanks to the animations, this story is back in existence for us to enjoy. And that's really it then for 2013, because we had to wait 2 years from 2014 to 2016 for the next animation release. And my God, it was absolutely brilliant of a long wait. So Gone is animating the missed stories that had missing episodes in, and we went into full animation of the missing stories, with the very first story to be released in animation. All 6 episodes to help this missing adventure come back into existence for us Doctor Who fans, and it was The Power of the Daleks. Patrick Troughton's first ever episode, well, his first ever story as the Second Doctor. And also, this was the first time we actually had Daleks in animation, and my God, when I first bought this back in 2016, the DVD version, not the Steelbook, the Steelbook, this wasn't released till February 2017. It was released in animation for us fans to pick up on the Steelbook, but it was released on DVD for us in 2006. But we didn't have the coloured version, no. We had to wait for the coloured version to come in existence in the Steelbook. And my God, it was such a long, good wait. This story is absolutely brilliant. And yes, it was rushed in certain parts, but we did get a special edition version of it. But that is coming out later on. So yeah, in 2016, we had the very first full adaptation of animation of 6 missing episodes to The Power of the Daleks. And then jumping in the next year, in 2017, after the Steelbook release with the coloured version for us Brits, because the Americans managed to have the animation release around about the same time as we had the DVD version, but that was the black and white episodes. So back in 2017, we had another kind of story that was partly filmed, part of it wasn't filmed, so they used animation to help bring this story back into live action for us to sit down and enjoy. And this story was, of course, the untransmitted version of this untransmitted story from 1979 to 1980. And it was the fantastic season finale to season 17. Shada. Yes, we had all the original cast come back, like Tom Baker, Leona Ward, John Leeson, and I believe we had some of the original actors as well come back and did the voices of Skagger and that lot. To help bring this story, this untransmitted story, into existence. Yes, we had to wait from 1979 to 2017 to see this story in full. And my God, it was absolutely brilliant. Yes, I know in 2021 we had another release of Shada, but in 6 episodes in the seasons in Doctor Who The Collection season 17 video. But I'm not really going to include that because that wasn't actually released first. This was. I absolutely do love this, and this is the first time we can actually watch this in a full movie version. And yes, I know it did release the 2003 webcast one with Paul McGann going over the events of Shada because he can't remember from what happened in his 4th incarnation. But my God, to actually sit down and watch the stuff that was actually filmed back in 1979, and then you got the animation helping this story to exist. My God, it was the best move the BBC ever did. And then 2 years after that, so we didn't get one in 2018. So in 2019, we had another missing adaptation in animation of a 4-part story. And this story was called The Macra Terror. And my God, I absolutely flipping love the animation for the story. This is my all-time favourite animation out of the animations of the missing stories, because this is my favourite one. It's done so well. The Macra are done so creepy. If this story did exist, I don't think it would be very high in my regards to me. If this story, all 4 episodes actually did exist, I don't think this would be one of my favourites, because I think the animation team managed to pull so much off this story. It's done brilliantly and epic and just absolutely fantastic, and it really gives you that kind of atmosphere for the animation. It's absolutely brilliant. And then in 2019, we are on a roll for the animations, because a year later we had another season 4 story animated. All 6 episodes was fully animated for this release for us fans to sit down and enjoy. And yes, it does have episodes 1 and 3 does exist in the story, and it was released with episode 2, 4, 5 and 6 of the animations to help the story come in existence. But you can either watch this animation in black and white or in colour, a bit like the Macra Terror. The story in general was actually called The Faceless Ones, and we had this released in 2019. And again, this story I absolutely flipping enjoy thanks to the animation. Again, I would really be interested to see episodes 2, 4, 5 and 6 exist, so I can actually see which one do I prefer. But I actually prefer watching this with the black and white version with the 2 surviving episodes, because it is absolutely brilliant. It's just like watching one of the DVD releases between 2006 and 2014. And then, of course, we are now into 2020. And, of course, for the first animation release of 2020 was, of course, The Power of the Daleks Special Edition. Now, this actually came out during the pandemic, and my God, actually picking this up in the August thanks to Amazon, and absolutely buying it. Even though I did own the steelbook by then, I actually picked it up and thinking, oh, I'm going to see what the difference is. And now I watched the black and white one first, and then I watched this one. I didn't even watch the colour version of the steelbook. And I noticed that this story is actually done perfect. Yes, half of the stuff I said was rushed for the original release to get it out in 2016 and 2017. But I would absolutely love to have waited for this story just to be released. The special edition is absolutely brilliant, and they even throw in a load of extras as well. No coloured version for us fans, but it's still absolutely worth it. Sorry, I got a bit of an itch there. And then, of course, in 2020, we had another release. Now, this one wasn't a special edition release like the Power of the Daleks. It was a whole new animation release, and it was all 6 episodes. Yes, we had all 6 episodes released in animation for Fury from the Deep. Now, this story does have a few backlash because certain scenes look a bit too big from the actual stuff you can actually imagine of from the 60s. But I think it does pull it off a little bit. And I know some fans don't really care for this one, but I'm going to be honest with you, 100%, I'm just absolutely grateful this story is basically animated for us fans to enjoy. Because, one, it does help nearly complete Season 5. Because Season 5, we only need one story left to complete in animation, which is The Wheel in Space. But it actually helps bring in Season 5 into complete. It really does, because we only had a couple of stories that we needed for Season 5, and technically we got them straight after this release in 2021. But in 2020, this was the only release we had for Season 5, and it was absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely enjoyed it. Again, we had the seaweed on the artwork attacking the TIE, but it never really happened in the actual episode, so that was the only thing I found really, really down about it. But the rest of the story, I think, even though you can tell for a 1960 story, the animation just basically decided to make the whole sets more bigger than they would have been. And then, of course, in 2021, we had the release of episode 3 in animation of The Web of Fear. Now, The Web of Fear was found back in 2013, along with all 6 episodes of, as we all know, The Enemy of the World. And already in the archive, we already had episode 1 of the story. So episodes 2, 4, 5, and 6 were found. I believe episode 3 was found, but something happened to that story. I believe somebody took it. But the story was actually purely animated for us fans to enjoy in pure HD. Now, this is the very first time we actually got to see the surviving episodes 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 in animation, basically in fantastic live HD. And I think they've done it really, really well. They actually did clean up what they could do. Now, technology has aged a bit in the last 10 years. And it has actually helped the story to come back in existence. And episode 3, even though people did moan about the animation, I'm going to be honest with you, I actually am just happy we just got it animated, bringing this story into a full story. So every time I rewatch this story now, because I owned this on DVD with the special edition, and I own the original release, I always go to the Blu-ray because it absolutely does make the story stand out a lot in HD with the surviving episodes and episode 3 as well. And then in 2021, we had another release. Now, this story is absolutely brilliant. I absolutely do enjoy the story. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so grateful it was animated for us fans to enjoy. It is The Evil of the Daleks. Now, this is a 7-part story, and this is the very first time in the animations, because the rest of the animations have normally been like 6 episodes full. We had 7 episodes animated, and they absolutely pulled it off. Yes, episode 2 does survive, and yes, you can actually watch this in high definition HD, and it's done absolutely brilliant with the rest of the animation in black and white, or you can watch it in colour. I absolutely flipping love The Evil of the Daleks. I think it's a fantastic story, and I'm so glad I actually managed to experience it. And then in 2021, we had another release in animation. Now, this one did catch me by surprise, because we knew in 2021 we were getting the Web of Fear animation for episode 3. We knew we were going to get The Evil of the Daleks. This one came out of nowhere for us fans, and it came to a bit of a shock, because in 2021 we had the first time a fully missing story for the first Doctor to be released in animation. And this was the very first story to open up the 3rd season of Doctor Who. Now we just kind of need the rest of season 3 to be animated for us fans to enjoy and bring that season into complete. But the story I'm on about that really did come to a shock, because I absolutely love this. I really think the animation actually helps this story, and it's absolutely brilliant. Was, of course, Galaxy 4. And this was the first time they actually ever did a full-on animation of a Hartnell story. Now, when saying that, we did have 2 Hartnell releases in the animation early stage with the Temple episode 4 and episodes 4 and 5 of the Reign of Terror. But this was the very first time they actually animated a whole Hartnell story in pure animation. And I really think they actually did pull it off, because this story at the time, I owned nothing of it. I didn't own the Target book or the CD. I still don't own the CD. But my God, the animation actually helps the story to exist and is absolutely brilliant. And it really does capture Hartnell's really, really well in the animation. I really do enjoy Hartnell. Yes, it does look a bit... It is done by the same company from Fury from the Deep, but I really think they kind of learnt from their mistakes with the animation of Fury from the Deep. And this was done absolutely brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. And then coming into 2022, only last year, we had the actual last release from BBC America, because BBC America was doing all these fundings for the missing stories back in 2016 onwards. And then, of course, in 2022, we had the last one. And that was the fantastic 6-part episode story that was fully animated in colour and black and white. And, of course, you can actually watch episodes 1, 3, 5 and 6 in animation, but the surviving episode 2, which does exist in the BBC archive, you can actually watch that in black and white with the rest of the animation. It was The Abominable Snowmen. And my God, I absolutely flipping love the story. It was absolutely brilliant. I've actually watched this one 10 times since it came out last September. It's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. And that's basically it for the animations. Now, going from 2006 to 2022, we've come a very long way, because not at this point, none of these stories would be here. We wouldn't have Shada to watch in Doctor Who The Collection, Season 17. We would just have up to the Horns of Nimon. I don't really think... I think we would have had the VHS version that was released with Tom Baker now narrating what was going on in the other scenes. But I don't really think we would have had the animation to go into Doctor Who The Collection Season 17. But we've come a very long way with the animations coming from the very first story, aka the invasion, up to The Abominable Snowmen. And of course, this year, later on this year, we are going to be getting the animation of The Underwater Menace. Now, how many more stories do we need for animation? Well, technically for Hartnell, we still kind of need a bit, because we still need Marco Polo, we still need Mission to the Unknown, we need the Mythmakers, we do need the Daleks Master Plan, we need the Massacre, the Celestial Toymaker, and the Savages, and the Smugglers. So we have 8 stories we still need for the first Doctor. But we are nearly complete on the second Doctor's era now. With the release of The Underwater Menace, we do only need 3 stories left for Troughton's Doctor, which is the Highlanders, the Wheel in Space, and of course, the Space Pirates. But how good is that, eh? We've gone from needing a load of stories to try and help bring these stories into existence with the animation. We've gone from basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've got 15 animation releases. Half of these were doing with full-on episodes trying to help the stories to exist, or full-on animations. And of course, it's basically 14. I only included Shada, but basically we have 14 1960s Doctor Who stories we can actually experience for the animation. And I really think that's absolutely brilliant. Yes, I do know for Hartnell we need 8 more stories animated, and I would absolutely love to see the Daleks Master Plan to get an animation at some point. I really do. I really hope that the Underwater Menace animation does kind of help with the money with the BBC, so they can carry on animating all these missing stories, and we can have them in Doctor Who The Collection. Imagine having season 3, 4 and 5 actually fully complete with no missing episodes thanks to the animations. But yeah, the animations have come a very long way from going from basically, you know, we need 8 stories from Hartnell, and we've got 3 stories of him. So basically that would have been 11 stories from Hartnell And we had 1, 2, 8. We've already had 10 stories animated for Patrick Troughton, meaning we, out of the missing stories, out of Troughton's 21 stories, there's only 2. Well, there's only 3. We still need an animation, which is basically, as I already said, the Highlanders, the Wheel in Space, and of course the Space Pirates. But Hartnell's Era is the one that is massively needed animations to bring it up. So I really do hope when the Smugglers come out in animation, and that's basically the 9th story, but we do know that's coming out because it was rumoured that we were going to get the Underwater Mist, and I can guarantee now the Underwater Mist has come true. I can actually guarantee the Smugglers is definitely going to happen. Maybe next year in 2024. We just don't know. So yeah, the animations have come a very, very long way. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of the animations? Which is your favourite animation? Now, I want to tell you quickly about my top 10. Not top 10, sorry. My top 3 animations. Because if I was going to say my top 10, it'd be a lot of these. So the top 3 stories I'm glad to help exist for the animation. Are you ready? So, in number 3, I'm glad we had The Abominable Snowmen, because I absolutely flipping love the story. I think it does stand out. In number 2, in second place, basically, I'm happy that we had the story animated, The Power of the Daleks. We don't just have 1 animation, we have 2 animations of this story, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's a good to see Patrick Troughton's first ever full-on story as the 2nd Doctor. But number 1, the one-time Doctor Who story I am absolutely grateful to have in animation, was released back in 2006 with The Invasion. Now, I've already said how much I love this story. It's my favourite summer story, it's my favourite Troughton story, it's my favourite 60 story, and it's my favourite animation story because of episodes 1 and 4. And I just absolutely flipping love these DVDs and Blu-rays. They're absolutely brilliant. So anyway, let me know in the comments, what do you think of this list? Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick video of talking about the animations from 2007, 2006, all the way up to 2022, or 2023 with The Underwater Menace. Let me know what's your favourite release so far for the animations. Is it The Invasion? Is it The Reign of Terror, The 10th Planet, The Ice Warriors, The Moon Base, Power of the Daleks, Shada, you know, The Macroturd, The Faceless Ones, you know, Fury from the Deep, The Evil of the Daleks, and of course, The Abominable Snowmen. And Galaxy 4. Let me know which is your favourite. Thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe and share, and join for more awesome Doctor Who content.